We all want to believe that people care about us. It's human, it's wired into our DNA. We crave connection, and in that craving, we sometimes hold on too tightly to relationships that were never meant to hold us back. But the truth is, some people don't care about us, not in the way we need, not in the way we deserve. And if we're not careful, we mistake their indifference for something we have to earn our way out of. So how do you know when someone truly doesn't care? You don't need grand betrayals or dramatic goodbyes to see it. You just need to pay attention. In a world where interactions are often reduced to likes, comments, and surface level exchanges, it's easy to mistake attention for care. But attention isn't the same as connection, and real connection, the kind that nourishes us, that makes us feel safe, seen, and valued, is built on a foundation of mutual care and respect. Mutual. That's the key word, because true connection is never one-sided. It's not about one person always giving while the other takes. It's not about one person always bending to accommodate while the other remains rigid. It's a dance. Both people moving toward each other with effort, interest, and a willingness to understand. So what does mutual care look like? It's showing up even when it's inconvenient. It's remembering the little details, how someone takes their coffee, the big interview they were nervous about, the way their voice sounds when they need reassurance but don't know how to ask. It's not just being present for the highs, the celebrations, the good times. It's being there when things are messy, uncomfortable, or hard. And then there's respect, the backbone of every strong relationship. Respect is not just about politeness or good manners. It's about recognizing and honoring another person's boundaries, emotions, and individuality. It means listening, not just to respond, but to understand. It means giving space for someone's truth, even if it's different from your own. True connection happens when both care and respect exist together. Care without respect can feel suffocating or controlling, as if love is being used as a tool for manipulation. Respect without care can feel cold and distant, as if you matter only when it's convenient. But when the two work hand in hand, there's balance, there's security, there's the kind of relationship, whether romantic, platonic, or familial, that makes you feel like you belong. If you've ever been in a dynamic where you were the only one trying, you know how exhausting it is. It wears you down. It makes you question your worth. But here's the truth. You should never have to chase care. You should never have to convince someone to respect you. The relationships that are meant for you will never make you feel like a burden for needing reciprocity. At the end of the day, true connection is not just about proximity or history. It's about effort. It's about two people choosing day after day to care for and respect each other, not out of obligation, but because they genuinely want to. That's the kind of connection worth holding on to. We spend so much time analyzing what people say to us. We replay conversations, dissect text messages, and search for hidden meanings in words that feel unclear. But often the most revealing truth isn't found in what someone says, it's found in what they don't say. Indifference speaks louder than words. When someone cares, you feel it. It's in the way they check in on you, in the way they make an effort to understand your emotions, in the way they remember the small details you never thought mattered. Care is active. It moves, it reaches, it creates space for connection. But indifference is passive. It's a void. It's the absence of effort, the lack of acknowledgement, the quiet dismissal of your presence in someone's life. Silence is an answer. Lack of effort is an answer. Apathy is an answer. We sometimes fool ourselves into thinking that if someone isn't outright cruel to us, then they must care on some level. We tell ourselves that maybe they're just busy, maybe they're not good at expressing emotions, maybe we're expecting too much. But let's be honest, caring doesn't require constant words, but it does require presence. If someone truly values you, they won't let you linger in doubt. They won't leave you questioning whether they care. They won't make you feel like you're always the one reaching out, the one trying to maintain the connection, the one carrying the weight of the relationship on your shoulders. Indifference is the friend who never asks how you're doing, even when they know you're struggling. It's the partner who shows more excitement over their phone than in spending time with you. It's the family member who only calls when they need something. It's the colleague who dismisses your ideas without a second thought. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. But over time, it chips away at your sense of worth. It makes you wonder if you're asking for too much when in reality you're asking for the bare minimum. And here's the hard truth. If someone's indifference is making you question your value, it's not your value that's in question, it's their ability to see it. We have to stop chasing people who show us through their inaction that they don't value us. We have to stop making excuses for those who don't make room for us in their lives. Love, friendship, respect, these things don't require begging. They don't thrive in places where indifference lives. So pay attention to what isn't being said. Pay attention to the energy, the effort, the presence, or the lack of it. Because the loudest message someone can send isn't always in their words, it's in how little they seem to care when you stop trying. We've all heard the phrase, actions speak louder than words, but it's not just actions, it's patterns that reveal the truth about a person. Anyone can make a promise, anyone can say the right things in the right moment. But words, no matter how beautifully spoken, mean nothing if they are not backed up by consistent behavior. Promises are easy, they give hope, they sound reassuring, and they keep people invested. But patterns take time to notice. They tell the real story. They expose habits, priorities, and true intentions. If you want to understand who someone really is, don't focus on what they tell you. Focus on what they repeatedly do, the power of patterns. A person who constantly cancels plans at the last minute, that's not bad luck. It's a pattern of unreliability. A friend who only reaches out when they need something, that's not forgetfulness. It's a pattern of self-interest. A partner who apologizes for hurting you but keeps doing the same thing over and over, that's not an accident. It's a pattern of disregard. People show you exactly who they are through repetition, not through one-time actions. One moment of kindness doesn't make someone a good person, just like one mistake doesn't make them a bad one. But consistent behaviors over time reveal a person's true nature. Promises versus patterns. Promises can be emotional. They feel good to hear. They make us want to believe. They fill the space between who someone is and who we wish they were. But a promise without follow-through is just a distraction. Think about the person who always says, I'll do better, but never actually changes. Or the one who says, I care about you, but never makes the effort to show it. Those words may be comforting in the moment, but if the behavior stays the same, the promise was just an illusion. Pay attention to the trend, not the excuse. Why we ignore patterns. The hardest part about accepting someone's patterns is that it forces us to face reality. And sometimes reality is painful. We want to believe people will change. We want to hold on to their potential. We tell ourselves stories. They didn't mean it. They'll get better. Maybe I just need to be more patient. But potential is not a promise. And it's certainly not a pattern. The truth is, we don't need to decode people. We don't need to overanalyze or search for hidden meanings in their words. The answer is always in their consistent actions. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. It's a hard lesson, but an important one. People will always show you who they are. Your job is to believe them the first time. Not when they finally run out of chances. Not when they hurt you one too many times. Not when you're exhausted from trying to justify their actions. Believe them when their actions don't match their words. Believe them when their patterns tell a different story than their promises. Believe them when they consistently show you that they don't respect, value, or prioritize you. Because at the end of the day, someone's real character isn't found in what they say they'll do, it's in what they actually do over and over again. Final thought, if you have to keep hoping for a different outcome, it's because you're ignoring the pattern. And if you're ignoring the pattern, you're choosing the promise over the truth. Stop listening to what people say, start watching what they do. Because patterns don't lie. We live in a world that often tricks us into believing that our worth is something external, something that can be measured by how much attention, love, or validation we receive from others. We look to relationships, friendships, and social approval to tell us how much we matter. But here's the truth. Your self-worth is not defined by how much someone else values you. It never was. It's easy to fall into the trap of measuring our worth through the eyes of others. When someone loves us, we feel valuable. When someone ignores us, we feel insignificant. When a friend chooses someone else over us, we feel replaceable. When a relationship ends, we wonder if we were not enough. But this kind of thinking gives other people power over something that should belong only to us. Why do we let others define our worth? From a young age, many of us are conditioned to believe that our value is tied to approval. As children, we learn that being good earns praise. In school, we're measured by grades. In relationships, we're told that being chosen means we're special. Over time, we internalize the idea that our worth must be proven, that we must earn it by being lovable, successful, attractive, or needed by someone else. But here's where that thinking becomes dangerous. When we let other people determine our value, we make ourselves dependent on forces we cannot control. If someone treats us with love and respect, we feel good about ourselves. If someone treats us with indifference, we question our worth. If someone rejects us, we assume we weren't good enough. But think about that for a second. Why should your worth change based on how someone else treats you? Why should the way one person sees you have the power to determine how you see yourself? The truth about self-worth is not something that is given to you by others. It is something you own, something that exists within you, regardless of how anyone else perceives you. A person's inability to see your value does not mean you lack value. Someone's failure to love you does not mean you are unlovable. Being rejected does not mean you are unworthy. People's opinions are shaped by their own experiences, biases, and emotional capacities. Sometimes their inability to appreciate you has nothing to do with you and everything to do with where they are in life. Some people are incapable of valuing others in a healthy way, no matter how worthy those others are. So why should your self-worth be based on someone else's limited perception? Signs you are defining your worth by others. If you've ever done any of the following, you might be allowing external validation to dictate your self-worth. Feeling unworthy when someone ignores you or doesn't reciprocate your feelings, changing yourself to fit what you think others want, staying in unhealthy relationships because you fear being alone, seeking constant reassurance from others to feel good about yourself, measuring your worth based on how many friends, followers, or admirers you have. These behaviors don't mean you're weak, they mean you're human. We all crave connection, love, and belonging. But true self-worth means knowing that you are already enough, even without external validation. How to reclaim your self-worth, detach your worth from external validation. Your value is not something that fluctuates based on how others treat you. Remind yourself daily that you are worthy simply because you exist, not because of what you do for others, not because of how many people approve of you. Stop chasing people who don't see your worth. If someone doesn't value you, that is a reflection of them, not you. Stop trying to prove your worth to people who don't recognize it. Walk away from relationships that make you feel small. Validate yourself first. Instead of waiting for others to reassure you, practice self-measurement, meditation. Celebrate your own accomplishments. Acknowledge your own strengths. Be proud of who you are without needing someone else to tell you. Surround yourself with people who reflect your value. The right people will never make you question your worth. They will respect, appreciate, and uplift you, not as a favor, but because that's how they truly see you. Develop inner confidence. Self-worth comes from within. Spend time alone, invest in your growth, and do things that make you feel good about yourself. The more you build yourself up, the less you will seek validation from others. Final thought at the end of the day, self-worth is not something you ask for. It is something you claim. It is not something that increases when someone loves you, and it does not disappear when someone doesn't. You are not less worthy because someone failed to see your value. You were already enough. You always have been, and no one, not a friend, a partner, a boss, a family member, gets to define what was never theirs to decide. For far too long, many of us have been conditioned to believe that setting boundaries is selfish. We've been taught that saying no is rude, that prioritizing ourselves is inconsiderate, and that making others uncomfortable with our limits is something to feel guilty about. But here's the truth. Boundaries are not selfish. Boundaries are an act of self-respect. What are boundaries really? Boundaries are not walls meant to shut people out. They are not weapons used to control or punish others. Boundaries are guidelines that define how we allow ourselves to be treated. They protect our emotional well-being, our time, our energy, and our sense of self. Boundaries say, this is what I need to feel safe and respected. This is what I will and will not accept in my life. This is where I end and you begin. When we lack boundaries, we overextend ourselves. We say yes when we mean no. We allow people to take advantage of our kindness. We tolerate disrespect because we fear conflict. And worst of all, we betray ourselves in an attempt to keep others comfortable. Why we struggle to set boundaries. Many of us resist setting boundaries because we don't want to disappoint people. We fear being seen as difficult or unkind. We worry that if we start saying no, people will think we don't care about them. But let's flip the perspective. If a relationship falls apart because you expressed your needs, was that relationship truly healthy to begin with? Healthy relationships, whether romantic, familial, platonic, or professional, are built on mutual respect. And mutual respect includes respecting each other's limits. But the truth is, not everyone will like your boundaries. Some people will push back. Some will make you feel guilty. Some will even try to manipulate you into believing that setting limits means you don't care. But let's be clear. People who respect you will respect your boundaries. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will call you selfish for setting them. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. When you set boundaries, you are not being mean, you are not being dramatic, you are simply choosing to honor yourself. Saying no to something that drains you doesn't make you selfish, it makes you self-aware. Limiting time with people who disrespect you doesn't make you cold, it makes you self-respecting. Protecting your peace doesn't make you difficult, it makes you emotionally intelligent. Boundaries are how you teach people how to treat you. If you constantly allow others to overstep, they will. If you don't speak up when someone disregards your needs, they will continue to do so. But when you set clear boundaries, you send a powerful message. I respect myself enough to stand up for what I need. What healthy boundaries look like. Healthy boundaries are not about control. They are about clarity. Here are some examples. Emotional boundaries. I am not responsible for managing other people's emotions at the expense of my own well-being. Time boundaries. My time is valuable and I won't overcommit just to please others. Communication boundaries. I won't engage in conversations that are disrespectful, manipulative, or toxic. Work boundaries. I will not answer emails or take work calls outside of my set working hours. Relationship boundaries. I will not tolerate dishonesty, disrespect, or emotional neglect in my relationships. Boundaries are not about rejecting others. They are about protecting yourself. They allow you to show up as your best self, not a drained, resentful version of you. Letting go of guilt. If you feel guilty for setting boundaries, ask yourself, why do I believe that other people's comfort is more important than my well-being? Why am I willing to prioritize their needs but not my own? Why do I think I must earn respect instead of simply expecting it? You are not responsible for managing how others feel about your boundaries. Your only responsibility is to honor yourself. If someone truly cares about you, they will want you to feel safe, valued, and respected, not drained, overextended, or resentful. We hold on. We hold on to people who drain us, to relationships that make us feel small, to friendships that no longer feel like home. We hold on because it's familiar, because we're afraid of what life will look like without them, because we convince ourselves that maybe, just maybe, things will get better. But here's what we don't realize in the moment. By clinging to the wrong people, we block ourselves from receiving the right ones. Why do we hold on? Letting go is hard, especially when we've invested time, love, and effort into a relationship. It's painful to walk away from people we once believed in, people we once shared dreams with, people who were once an important part of our story. We tell ourselves things like, maybe I'm overreacting, what if I never find anyone better? I've already put so much time into this relationship, what if I just try harder? It wasn't always this bad. Maybe things will go back to the way they were. But here's the truth. You cannot build a healthy, fulfilling life if you are constantly making space for people who are hurting you, draining you, or holding you back. When you hold on to the wrong people, you send yourself the message that you don't believe you deserve better. And when you don't believe you deserve better, you settle, you shrink. You tolerate less than you deserve because you're afraid to make room for more. The cost of holding on, keeping the wrong people in your life, comes at a price. It costs you your energy, your peace, your self-worth. It keeps you stuck in cycles of frustration, disappointment, and unmet expectations. It prevents you from fully stepping into the life you were meant to live. Think about it. Every moment spent chasing someone who won't meet you halfway is a moment stolen from someone who would. Every ounce of effort poured into a one-sided relationship is energy you could be investing in people who truly value you. The wrong people will make you question your worth, take more than they give, show up only when it's convenient for them, make you feel like you're hard to love, leave you emotionally exhausted. But the right people pour into you instead of just taking from you. They support you, they show up, they make you feel safe in their presence. They remind you simply by being who they are that love and respect should never feel like something you have to earn. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. One of the biggest misconceptions about letting go is that it means you no longer care. That's not true. Letting go doesn't mean the memories weren't real. It doesn't mean you didn't love them. It doesn't mean you wish them harm. It simply means you are choosing yourself. You are choosing your peace, your growth, and your future over a connection that is no longer serving you. You can love someone and still recognize that they are not meant to stay in your life. You can appreciate the good times and still acknowledge that the relationship is no longer healthy. You can forgive and still walk away. Letting go is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of self-respect, making space for the right people. The beautiful thing about letting go is that it creates space for relationships that are built on mutual respect and effort, space for friendships that nourish your soul, space for people who see you, value you, and meet you where you are. The right people will make you feel heard and understood. Support your growth instead of resenting it. Love you without conditions. Show up consistently, not just when they need something. Remind you what safe, healthy, genuine connection feels like. But you can't receive those connections if your life is too full of people who don't truly value you. The freedom of letting go. When you finally let go of the wrong people, something shifts. You feel lighter. You stop walking on eggshells. You stop trying so hard to prove your worth. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces you've outgrown. And then one day you look around and realize that your life is filled with people who reflect back to you the love, respect, and kindness you've always deserved. You don't lose when you let go of the wrong people. You gain the space for the right ones. At the heart of it all, true connection is built on mutual care and respect. The people who genuinely value you will never make you question your worth, nor will they require you to sacrifice your well-being just to keep them in your life. Indifference speaks louder than words, and when someone continuously disregards your needs, their actions are telling you everything you need to know. People reveal who they are through patterns, not promises. It is not what they say in moments of convenience, but how they consistently show up that defines the relationship. And no matter how much you pour into someone, your self-worth is never determined by their ability or inability to appreciate you. You are inherently valuable regardless of who recognizes it. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is an act of self-respect. The people who truly belong in your life will honor them, while those who only take advantage of you will resist them. And though letting go is difficult, it is necessary. When you release the wrong people, you make space for the right ones. People who pour into you, uplift you, and remind you that love, respect, and kindness should never be something you have to beg for. At the end of the day, you deserve relationships that feel like home, not battles to be won. You deserve to be surrounded by people who see your worth without needing to be convinced. And the moment you stop settling for less is the moment you start making room for what was meant for you all along.